Ooh, might make your head blow off.
Hey yo, it's a talk show host, Kana Lassiter. Join me for an episode of Relations, the most lit hour of adult conversation.
Hold up, you know you can't forget about me. It's 51 Spade, alpha male G-O-D, one half of Relations. You wanna hear the truth? Can you handle the truth? It's where it's at, baby. It's where it's at, baby.
What's good? Welcome to an all-new episode of Relations. My name is Kana Lassiter.
Say it with me now. Alpha male G-O-D 51 Spade, a.k.a. the ninja you love to hate. I'm in the building.
You know what we do here. It's 2 topics in 1 hour. Our 2 topics tonight are, is sex important to a relationship? And breakup and backups. Or breakups and backups, plural, because we all go through more than one breakup in life. But the saying is, going around, very popular these days, is that women have a backup plan. And I think like the percentage is like really high. And I'm always like on the other end, like that's not true. I don't have a backup plan. But I think where we should start is, what is the definition of a backup plan? Like for me, if you say backup plan, that means it's a plan B to the life that I have. And I have, you know, I got a life with another person. We're pretty much set up to spend life together. So when you say backup plan to me, if I had a backup plan, that would be a plan B to my plan A. And my plan, I don't have a plan B that's anywhere near spending my life with a person. So when I heard like that women have a backup plan, I'm like, I totally disagreed.
Of course you do. But you're not the representative of every woman in America. And that percentage was pretty much like, I think 50%, it might have been 75. But I really want to say it was at 50% because the people that I watched talk about it said that they thought it should actually be higher than the 50% that it actually was. So
that sounds ridiculous.
How can it sound ridiculous? Like if you think about,
because I think you ought to share your definition of what a backup plan is, and that's why your definition is going to make the number, of course, skyrocket, because your definition of backup plan is really basic. My definition of backup plan is major. So I think that's why the numbers are differing. If you're saying a backup plan is just some guy to come over and smash, then of course it's 99% of women.
But you're talking about yourself. So you're talking about yourself in that you don't believe in it. Do you know married women who talk to other men? See, just that hesitation right there lets you know that shit that you talking, you already on bullshit already, because you not being honest with yourself. Most women know other women that they talk to. Y'all get a call, girl, I'm going through it with him, this and that. Y'all start going to the gym. You see Valrico over there, you know what I'm saying, trying to help you out, spotting you and shit for the weights and shit. Then you like, you know, I'm married and shit, but you can follow me on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I got a Facebook. All that type of shit. This is putting in the motion of a backup plan. It doesn't mean that you having sex with them or this and that. And I tell women this all the time, because if you have a social media, at the end of the day, if your man was to open your social media, not your phone, just your social media, we would run into some shit that you be like, well, I just didn't give a fuck about that, or I didn't respond to that type of shit. But you can. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and you saw that shit in our shit, you would feel a certain type of way. Now, it's like a backup plan to me is like an emergency glass, just in case the shit get broke and everything go into play. And also, women use backup plans to me is, there's men that women have, bring them food, fix their cars, fix their house, all this type of shit. These are all motherfuckers that sitting there waiting, whether you believe that shit or not. Everyone be like looking and crazy and shit like, but I don't like him. I didn't ask you if you liked him. The question is, do you use him? then we come into a good area of it.
But I wouldn't call someone that I'm using
Of course.
a backup plan, though. To me, that okay.
But
Even in movies, even though
another person
people
would beg to differ.
Even in movies, when there's all this building suspense about carrying out Plan A and Plan A fails, the whole theater is moved by the line Plan B. Because you're shocked that there's a Plan B, and you're hoping that Plan B will be just as good as Plan A, because you're going to get to the goal. If my goal is marriage, then my backup plan has to be an alternative marriage for it to make sense to be called a backup plan.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No,
If the goal is to save the princess, let me talk video game, because I think that's what most men understand.
But we're talking about women, so it doesn't matter whether the men understand it or not. We're talking about them lying ass women out here that's sitting there talking about they don't have a backup plan, so it won't have nothing to do with no men.
It has a lot to do with men
Let's be
because
clear.
it has a lot to do with men because you guys have this narrative about this whole backup thing that I think is doing a disservice because of what I said. You're to even have the statement out there and to create that narrative, I think is dangerous because it's not true. I think it's okay for you to have that opinion, but don't use the term backup plan.
Okay.
Because that's not Plan B. Plan B is not, okay, I'm not getting married anymore, so let me just call up the guy who hangs pictures on my wall and paints and fixes my car, because that's Plan B. That does not sound like a Plan B. That sounds like, damn, my man is gone. I need some manpower around this motherfucker. Let me use him to do it until I find Plan B to replace what my man gave me. Just having some sidekick or some guy you use is not a backup plan. But if that's what y'all are calling it and then creating that narrative, then you're roped women into, just because they got some guy, a handyman, that they're hoes. Because that's what I think of when I join a podcast and I'm watching and they're saying 99% of women have a backup plan. I'm thinking, okay, so this is a show about a lot of hoes that's got a lot of dudes in their inbox, that's having a lot of conversations, that have a lot of backup situations. That's the narrative. It's not the narrative, well, if he leaves, she just calls over somebody to take out the trash. That's not what we're talking about here.
Nah, that ain't what I'm talking about either. But you still didn't answer the question. Do you have homegirls that's married that talk to other men?
You know what? Whenever I have a good
Answer
point,
the question.
you got to go back to a point that you already made.
Miss Lassiter.
You don't get a dun because you've already said that.
Miss Lassiter, it's like a simple yes or no.
God.
Like in a court of law, you wouldn't even be able to explain this. It's like yes or no. Miss Lassiter, do you have female friends that are married that talk to other guys? See the silence? But these are lies that I'm talking about. These are the narratives.
I didn't lie. This didn't say anything.
But if you was 100% confident, you would sit there and say no with a straight face. That's like basically just asking me.
I could say that if I were talking about myself.
But I ask you, do you have friends? So friends, married, do they talk to other guys? Not their husband. Other guys.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, this is how the backup plan comes into motion. Because at the end of the day, they are married. But marriage isn't everything that is meant to be for everybody. When people are younger, especially women, they're rushing to get down to the aisle. Even if you look at the percentages of the divorce rate, it ain't men that's fucking filing for divorce. It's women. And because it's women, what you think women filing for divorce and they just like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life by myself? No. See, when that file of divorce come into play, there's another person on the other end because they already like, well, I'm finna file for divorce.
I mean, that depends on how long they've been separated. People be separated for like 4 years, so duh.
It's
not like they separate. I've been separated for 6 months and I'm about to call my backup guy. That's not how it works.
I know, because I'm gonna tell you how it works. So, really, at the end of the day, like I've had homegirls that I know personally that are married, and they said that and have told me out of their own mouth, this is a female, like. There was this guy I was fucking with in high school. We talked from time to time. We've stayed in contact for over the years. So guess who she's trying to get with? After the fact, after introducing her husband to this motherfucker, this is my friend from college. This is my friend that y'all so buddy, have them all in my house and shit. But when the divorce papers come down, it's money how y'all go from friendship to relationship. And that's a backup plan.
That I would call a backup plan.
But there's plenty of women that have that shit. Yeah, there you go with that thinking shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't think. But see, but when I was explaining that, you was sitting there acting like you was just befuddled. Like, this shit is just impossible. Like, we're hunting for gold. And there's a map drawn out, like the Goonies. And there's no way on God's green earth that we could go on this treasure hunt and find some gold. That's how you acting about women, talking about they don't have a backup plan.
No, I'm just saying the way that you said it made it easy for it to be described as a backup plan. Let me say that. Because the way you laid it out, it's like I'm the witness on the stand, and you are trying to get me to agree or go with what you're saying. It was just laid out perfectly for me to agree at the end of the statement. But after thinking about it, there are plenty of women who, if you divorce, and let's say you live in a different city and you're married and have a family and you get divorced and you move back home, you're gonna fall back into some of the old places you used to go, your old neighborhood where your grandma used to live. So across the street is a guy that you used to go to high school with. That could be completely innocent. So I can't agree with that. If they ended up together off an innocent situation. You can't call that a backup plan. A backup plan is she was talking to him while they were married. They were interested in each other while you were married.
But she was talking to him.
Fool around with him while you were married. Just saying that's a friend from high school doesn't mean anything.
That's not true. First of all, she was already talking to him. They've been talking to him. She was fucking him in college. After that, in the beginning of right before they got married, and continued to talk to him. Why that marriage was going on. Mm-hmm. Now, if he wasn't nothing, or it wasn't like so innocent, then like I said, just open the DMs and let's just see like what's cracking, because the phone conversations that were being had, it wasn't like no texts and no shit going on. She told me straight up that she talked to him through Facebook. So a lot of the conversations that's being had, that conversation is being hidden. And like most men will wait to the end of time for pussy. Like, that's just how we are.
Not to the
you
end
know
of
what
time.
I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's good for the man. Because there's no strings attached. That's one thing that most women don't, that they don't really get. Like, women be fucking, like, and this is free game. Women will be fucking with somebody and then in a relationship with a whole nother person and fuck this guy from time to time. And a guy's cool with that. But dump your man and then be like, hey, I'm free now.
He don't want you.
And you gonna see the real reaction that he have. Mm-hmm. That's good for you.
Yeah.
That ain't
but I
got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we started.
And
I fuck here, fuck there, little fuck everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And because you free, that doesn't mean that I'm going over that. But women don't understand that. So by them trying to put their backup plan into motion, that's why it's so set apart like that. I understand what you're talking about, but those incidents and coincidences don't just happen. You don't just leave your motherfucking house.
They do. Of course, I totally believe in things just happening.
You believe in unicorns, don't you?
I do.
I believe it. See what I'm saying? So that's all you gotta. That's all that gotta be said right there.
But every day you wake up is a miracle. I'm like,
unicorns exist?
You believe in unicorns?
unicorns are gonna do this to me right now. Yeah, I believe in a lot of. Yeah, I believe in magic. I believe in. Hey, listen. If Jesus
Gotcha.
was resurrected
Gotcha.
from the dead, there could certainly be a unicorn. If there's aliens in space, then there can certainly be a unicorn.
So let me ask you this. So you believe in unicorns, but you don't believe that a woman have backup plans. You believe in all this other shit, like leprechauns and all this other shit. But you don't believe that there are no women sitting in their marriage with not a backup plan.
I didn't say that, not at all. I'm just saying that I don't think the percentage is high based on the fact that I think that our definition of backup plans are different. And I think that the conversation and the women, the narrative painted about women would change if we just make sure that the word backup plan is more defined.
Well,
because there are people that meet other people and it's totally coincidence that they're both free at the same time and it's just the right time for that two people. It does not mean that those two people were in other relationships and looked at each other as backup plans. I just don't believe that, because I've never got out of a relationship and into another one that I considered a backup.
That's cool. You can consider it whatever you think, but you're talking about from the perspective of just you.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking in generalization of like actually what's going on, and there's no way that you've been on the phone a lot of time with your homegirl, talking to them, and I know you done gave warnings of, girl, you married. Why are you doing that? Why are you talking to him? You know he don't see you like that. That fun gonna be over if your husband find out. Like, don't act like these conversations are not being had from your friends, women, or anything. A lot of these conversations are always being had. Women get bored. They men work too much, and a lot of.
But we're not talking about cheating in general. We're talking about the phrase back up plan B. I do not believe
but this is how backup
these
plans
cheaters have backup plans.
But this is how backup plans come into play, because the reason I'm giving those scenarios is because loneliness turns into conversation or attention from other people. Let's just be real with this. And in this world that we live in now, it's very social media. I really don't even know a woman that doesn't have one. You can send me that picture, but you post the exact same picture, like, watch all these likes and this and that, and women answer what men they want to. I've watched it play out over and over again. I've watched women on live that go live that do that. People asking comments, all of them there. You know, how you doing? You fine, you pretty, this and that. But she singles out the one person that is her backup plan, more than likely, that she's talking to. Now you know you crazy. See, he stood me up, having a full-fledged conversation, and then turn around and say I'm in a relationship. But if her man was in there, I bet that wouldn't even go like that at all. It's a backup plan. I don't care how you do it. I'm not saying a backup plan is that you fucking them. A backup plan is that your main goal.
Yeah, but if you're having conversations, that's the narrative that you're creating. Because no one's saying.
Should you be talking to anybody, to another person without your significant other knowing about y'all conversation?
No, you should not. It's inappropriate behavior. It is inappropriate. But because somebody is acting inappropriately, they become a part of the narrative that they may have a backup plan. It's crazy. You can't say that. You can't create those type of narratives. I think it's dangerous. I think it's irresponsible. It's because you're saying that a backup plan could just be the handyman, because that's how it's created to begin with. And that's just not fair. That's just not fair. Because everybody that has people in their lives that are helping them is actually looking at this person as somebody that they want to be in a relationship with. Even if they do end up in a relationship with them, that wasn't premeditated.
Gotcha.
And so premeditated, when you say backup plan is a premeditated word. That means you planned to be
that is not what
in this situation. Yes, it is. If you plan something, you premeditated it. No, you can't say that definition of plan doesn't work because of your narrative. That is the definition of the word. Well, if it's a backup plan, then you premeditated it. Period.
Yeah, but that does not mean that backup, like anything else. Backup plan means a fail safe, but your fail safe don't always work. So you can't say that. Hey, you could premeditate anything that you want to, because even my homegirl, she premeditated her being with the motherfucker that she was fucking since college, since all through, not through her marriage, but talking to him through her marriage. And then once her marriage about to end, she was like, I think I want to give a go at him. And started cheating with him towards the end of her marriage. And once she fucking got out that marriage, she was like, hey, I'm free. I could be with you. And he was like, no. So that was her backup plan, but it failed. He didn't look at her like a backup plan, but she looked at him like one. Mm-hmm. So by her being married and just getting free pussy, he don't have to turn her down.
Okay, but the difference, I think, because I don't know your particular homegirl, but in that case, I feel like your definition works because she was actively having sex with this person while she was in her marriage, and the conversations were inappropriate. I'm guessing if you're having sex, you ain't talking about unicorns and rainbows on social media.
You're not, but
you're talking about some nasty ass shit.
But you know what? But it led up to that because what I said. In the marriage, they still stayed in contact. And that contact of a male and a female, just having conversations, and especially when you know the person, the guy could really be like, damn, man, you know, I always found you attractive. You know what I'm saying? Now you married. It start off as like play. That's how it start off.
Yeah.
Come on, like, yeah. It start off as...
I recognize that conversation.
I know you do. And a lot of women recognize that shit because you're going to be comfortable with that person. So y'all can flirt with each other. You can do those type of things. And you can say inappropriate stuff to each other. You already know. It doesn't have to be like, this is just what it is. But you can set it in motion. So that way, if my relationship blow up, he already know I like him.
The crazy thing is this, though.
The crazy thing is you, though.
No, because you know what? I hold myself accountable. So I'm like, you know what? Who am I attracted to in my head? What kind of guy would I like? Every guy that I've thought about that I've smelt in the last 5 years that smelt good or spoke well, somebody that would even be attracted to, guess what? They're already taken. They're spoken for. So it would be unintelligent for me to be like, that guy's a good backup plan. My backup plan would only work if my marriage failed and his marriage or his relationship failed. So that's putting a lot of, it doesn't even make sense. For me, it doesn't make sense.
But that's the same scenario that you just told me because her backup plan didn't work out and it failed.
Right.
So Johnny Gill, that keeps saying my. You're talking about you, and we talking about women in general. Is a whole.
And as a whole, I think there are more women like me who just have things to pass by time. It's not a backup plan.
There's a lot of women.
It's not a backup plan. Trust me.
There's a lot of women that don't believe in unicorns. Trust me.
Well, listen.
And you are one of them.
Let me tell you. I'm prove my point.
So I'm thinking. You lost that point.
I'm only gonna prove my point.
When you would not answer if you have friends.
Listen. We've been doing relations probably 5 or 6 years. During the whole time we've done this show, there's one thing we've always agreed on, that there is a shortage of good men to date. We've always agreed on that. Let me finish. And because we've always agreed on that, for you to sit here and say that based on my definition of a plan B, that's even possible. I cannot think of another man who is available, ready to commit, or another man that I would want to commit to.
Gotcha.
Sitting here, there's only one, and that's the person that I'm with. So to me, I know for sure, just based on the statistics, that there's a shortage of marriable men or men who commit in the world to begin with. Then how are you painting this narrative that women have backup plans? Where are these backup men even come from who are qualified to be your plan B?
Ask your friends that. Because they'll tell you where they come from. So
no.
Because we're gonna stay right here on this topic because just because you saying that, we have agreed that there's a shortage of men.
We have.
But we also have agreed that women pick horribly when it comes to men. See, the thing about this is where your narrative goes not right in this sense is if you probably pick bad men all the way around. So your thought process is thinking about where you stay at. And where you stay at, you might say to yourself like, damn, in this city that I live in, there's not a lot of eligible men here. But if you was to explore out of that, just like anything else, like a radius, your numbers start to increase. Just like an app, just like a dating app. Like when the radius is small,
the selection
is small. Your radius, you open it up, and then all of a sudden, there's more available women or men.
But we all know that half of those are down low.
I let you talk. Now, see, you trying to paint a different narrative.
And a third of them got no job.
So listen, you're trying to paint a different narrative. The reality of it is, you pick fucked up men, and you thinking of that, your chances of not finding a real man is high. But that is absolutely not true. And when you're talking about people who holler at you, you know what I'm saying, in your DMs, this and that. So I want to talk about this. The other thing is when women use non-sexual commitments to men that they deal with. So there's a guy that either give you money, fix your car, this and that. I'm talking about these people. And don't be sitting there acting like you don't know what I'm talking about. Every woman knows what I'm talking about. You get the benefits of not giving sex, but get the benefits of what they'll give you because you know that they like you. Now, whether you look at them as a backup plan or not is fucking irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, they'll come through in the clutch. You fucking like need your house moved or need something. If you need to get out your husband's house, he'll show the fuck up. He'll risk life and limb because he want to fuck your ass, and you know this already. Now, if he just so happened to work itself out, you know what I'm saying? It will. But you ain't putting them in play, cock the gun and the whole nine and just let it go like that. But people keep people around for different reasons. Like, it's not like I'm saying like you just go out and you look for a backup plan. And the other thing
I just wish you wouldn't call it that.
And then but the main thing about this is also like breakups. When you're talking about breakups, most people, when you're talking about that, they're not honest about their breakups.
So are we switching topics? Is that what we're doing?
No, it's breakups and backups.
Okay, but we were just on. Oh, that's what we are talking about.
Exactly.
Wake up! It's time to switch.
Wake up! Yeah, because you just want to switch. But it's breakups, and most people don't know how to break up either with their significant other or if they've been in this long relationship where things have went sour. Mm-hmm. So the attention that you get in a lot of times now, that's where the backup plan come into play because you already tired of this relationship. So keep in mind that she was in this marriage, you know, since her 20s, and now she's 30-something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
But why is this narrative even about women? Because I know men have, for me,
we always
I think men have way more,
like,
because it wasn't specified for just women. I feel like men have a backup plan. I think that's always been that way.
But
I
was
think
asking,
this narrative about women is new. It's been that way with men.
But guess what? But I didn't bring up this narrative. You said, I don't believe that women have that shit, and I was answering the question. I never not once said that men don't have backups. Never not one time. But you wanted to know the answer to it because you just didn't believe it. That's why we were talking about women. Correct? See, silence is the main thing when people are in that corner and they're not right. Now, we can talk about men having backups, but it's still the same thing to me because, like, when men break up, men definitely have backup plans. Men
for sure. It's a toothbrush at your other bitch house right now.
But don't act like women don't. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, fellas, go into Facebook, go into IG, you'll see some shit that you'll be like, so who is this? Who is this? Who is this? And then she gonna turn into Fred Flintstone, yabba dabba do. She ain't gonna know shit. She ain't gonna know what the fuck going on. She gonna be looking like my co-host right here, acting like she don't know what's going on. Oh, well, Leroy, that's nobody. Like he just yeah. So don't act like
not Leroy.
He got that glow. So don't act like women don't have backup plans. It ain't just men doing the shit. Women have that shit at a high rate. And like I told you, men don't even file for divorce half the time. Our
toothbrush ain't at nobody's house. We ain't left no underwear at nobody's house.
Yeah.
You ain't got no body wash in the tub. Hey,
that ain't got nothing to do with whether y'all have backup plans or not.
And it ain't any body wash. It's the exact body wash that he probably used at home, so he can go home smelling like the same soap he washed his ass with when he left home.
That's cool.
The same medications, all the shit that he fucked with is at his other bitch house.
And y'all pack bags and take that bag right over
but
to
that bag go back home when we go home.
That's right.
Leave
But you ain't coming back with that bag.
So which one of those is a backup plan?
You ain't coming
one
back
of those
to the bag
things is
to
for the
my
moment.
house.
No.
I can tell you that right now. You ain't coming to my house with that bag. You and that bag gonna be out on that porch. Believe that.
Damn. Golly. He got mad.
Nah, I wasn't mad. I'm just telling what it is. Trust ain't mad.
You just sip a Kool-Aid? You okay?
What are you talking about? That's because you like unicorns, ain't got nothing to do with it. Don't sweat the technique now. You gotta have points in this thing. It's called a debate show. You know what I'm saying? When people run out of points, that's when they get quiet.
Oh, no.
That's what's happening.
No, you just crack me up. I think it's asinine because I think what you've described as a backup plan is a fucking moment. And I think that moment was described when you said we take a bag and we go back home with that motherfucker. When y'all motherfuckers is leaving toothbrush, cologne. No, wait a minute. It ain't even the cologne and the bath wash from your house. It's some shit she went and bought because you told her to and that she got at her crib for your ass. Y'all got backup plans.
Gotcha.
We have
What
moments.
does that have to? What does
Difference.
That have? Backup plan is the same all the way around.
Moments,
And
a backup plan and a moment is not the same.
And you are a
moment is in
moron
present.
for even thinking that. And anybody that's thinking that it's a different. A moment is a moment is a moment in time.
The moment is in the present, right?
But guess what? But y'all have more than moments because just talking to somebody from point A all the way to point D is not a moment. So that's where you're wrong at. See, a moment would have just been like what you subscribe. Hey, I just moved back home, you know what I'm saying? And Derek is over there. You know, I knew him from high school. That's a moment. Not talking to the motherfucker from the point in time that you got married all the way through your marriage. That ain't no moment.
I will say that. If you're holding conversation all the way through your marriage and you used to be with the person, then you are potentially looking for that person as a backup plan if your situation fails. I'm just saying that number changes, meaning the statistic changes, when you separate what a backup plan is versus what a moment is. I think a lot of women have moments. I don't think they have a lot of backup plans.
Listen,
Sorry.
The topic isn't moment.
Sorry.
The topic is backup plan. So we're not talking about the exclusion of women who don't have that. We're talking about the women who have backup plans.
And I'm just saying that the number's lower.
But it doesn't.
Once you consider
no, it doesn't.
that your idea of a backup plan is totally fucked up.
No, it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, I don't meet a bunch of women that like unicorns or think they exist. You know what I'm saying? So if I line 20 women up and you the only one believe in it,
I don't think
that
I'm the only
number
one that
is,
believes.
guess what?
I
It's
think
high.
18 out of 20 believe that there's unicorns, by the way. 2 people don't.
Guess what?
Because they're cynical.
Hey, we on YouTube.
You know what?
And guess what? All y'all that think she's delusional, give me 2 thumbs up in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, give me a subscribe. And we're going to do like Nick Cannon. You're out.
You're so dumb. You have to believe in unicorns yourself.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
You watch Marvel?
Anyway, next topic. You already got beat. It's 1-0. Let's go.
Whatever. Let's talk about how vital sex is in a relationship. And this is going to be fun because normally I would say sex isn't everything. But I thought about a friend of mine, and I think that her relationship, if I'm being honest, fucking sucks. Like, I think it's cool, but for the most part, I think it fucking sucks. I think she deals with a lot of bullshit she shouldn't have to deal with. So I was thinking to myself that if his dick didn't work, like one day he woke up and he was like, his dick wouldn't work, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, it's over. There's not a pill we can give you. There's not a surgery we can do. Your dick is just not going to work anymore. Would she still deal with the bullshit? I just would want to know. I think her answer would be no, because...
Are you saying because she getting fucked that she's staying through bullshit?
And it's hard for me to say, but I think your situation is more tolerable when you feel loved. And having sex, unfortunately, is a way that women feel loved, especially in your prime. My friend is the same age as me. I'm in my prime. So if he was still everything he is, every bad thing, and he didn't have a dick to smooth it over, I just think she would throw in the towel. And I wouldn't blame her, because it's like, okay, so
sex is everything.
No. I'm saying that 80% of his bad habits make their relationship bad. 20% is good. So, and a part of the 20% is the dick. So I'm saying if the dick goes away, now he's only 10% good and 90% bullshit. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So you're asking her to choose 10% love and 90% BS. And I think that's just stupid for her to do. Now, if he loved her, the love was 90%, and the dick didn't work, then I could shift the dick over to the 20%, and there's still 90% or 80% of love there, or whatever the statistics would be. There would be more love than bullshit, but because there's more bullshit than love, I think if the dick goes, the relationship goes. So in this particular example, yes, sex is important to their relationship, because if he not dicking her down, then that means that she's only getting back rubs and an occasional forehead kiss and getting her coochie licked, and the rest of the time he's being the person that he is, and he's hard to love.
Gotcha. But let's take that scenario out of it. Is sex just important to a relationship?
I think it is, based on that example.
Okay.
Because there are good and bad things about people, and those things are tolerable when that person is being giving. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of friends who are married to millionaires, so the giving is at some point gonna not be materialistic. It's gonna be physical giving. So that is gonna include words of affirmation. That's gonna include quality time. That's gonna include sex.
Okay. I wouldn't disagree with you. I think sex is one of those things that is important in a relationship, and they can make and break relationships. Really, at the end of the day, it's one of the reasons why people cheat. Like that scenario that you just gave. Any normal person looking at her would be like, she's a moron, just by is just even giving that example. Because if you're talking about, to me, when you're talking about sex, well, sex isn't love to me. That's why it's two different things. So she's willing to take dick and just have sex, not love. Now you
can't say that, because she's in a relationship.
She's
making love.
I got it, but just because that's what she's doing don't mean that's what he doing. So keep in mind that, because if he loved her, you get what I'm saying? Like, this is where it comes full circle. Because if he loved her, then he wouldn't be doing the bullshit, which is okay. Well, that's what she would say. Like, if you love me, so if she catch him cheating, she would be like, and he say, I love you. Her normal response would be, no, you don't. Because if you love me, you wouldn't be disrespecting me. Well, that's part of his bullshit. And then the bullshit goes on and on and on and on. So that's why I'm telling you that means that he don't love her and he ain't making love to her. Most men, not all men, most men know that bitches are cuckoo for cuckoo puffs. You know what I'm saying?
What?
And at the end of the day, they are men. And that's why I just said, like, a lot of women don't know how to choose men, because women have dick blinders on and they get dickmatized like real crazy. They'll pay everything in the house. Motherfucker won't be paying one bill. Even their girlfriend is like, he ain't paying no bills. And her response is, yeah, but the dick is just so good. Like, this shit is like mind-boggling to me. You know, probably about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 women that have said this shit. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm telling you, there's no fucking way that you could think in your mind that he love you. He know, just like I know, if I dick you down enough, I could tell you we going to the moon, and you'll believe that shit.
Well, you know what? I could actually ride off that narrative, because I agree. But I think to give the topic more service, I don't think every bad relationship is indicative of just the standard basic cheating. Sometimes there's addiction. Sometimes there's abuse. Sometimes there's bad children. Sometimes there's a crazy baby mama.
Children gotta be bad.
No, there are some relationships that are perfect, and then you got the fucking kid that keeps going to jail every other week, and the motherfucker's tired of going down there and bailing the child out, and the daddy like, I ain't bailing them out, and the mama is like, we going to get my baby. These are real situations that hit home that make a relationship.
So that's fucking with their sex life.
To me, it's one of the cons that I was saying about the guy when I was saying that her relationship is 90% bad.
Okay.
It meaning that most of the time that I talk to her, the guy is off the rails, being mean, intolerable person. It's only 10% of the time that I'm talking to her that they had a great night, they went out, she got dick down. That's 10% of the time that we talk. 90% is he's just a fucking dick. So if you take away the sex out of that relationship with the addiction and the intolerability and the abuse, then yeah, I would encourage her in that situation to leave. I didn't want to say that he didn't love her, because when you talk about addiction and abuse, that doesn't mean that that person doesn't love the person. That means that the person has self issues. They don't have, sometimes the reason why somebody is putting their hands on you don't have nothing to do with you. Sometimes when a person is drinking and smoking and going down a road of addiction, don't got nothing to do with you. Sometimes it's about them. And so when you're in that type of situation, you can't say that there's no love. That person just is in a bad place and they need self-help. It doesn't mean that there's no love there. So I can't turn it around on my friend and be like, girl, you know he don't love you anyway. That's going to be the wrong thing to say. What I'm saying is, what you said was a good point. Well, girls take dick and they take all this bad stuff, but it's like, that's 10%. It's not like the 10% was he fucked me over the kitchen sink. The 10% was we had a great night, we went on a romantic date, and I made love with my husband. So this isn't, a fuck. This is a relationship. It's just that most of the time that I speak to this person, it's just a bunch of bad shit. So I feel like in her situation, if the dick stopped working, she would be a slave to a person who is not well.
But if that dick stopped working, she would probably smarten up and leave. Because I've also heard a lot of women that be like, well, at least you could do is fuck me right. And a lot of these arguments or shit that I'm bitching about would stop. So my thing is, you're right what you're saying. But what I was saying was, it's two different scenarios of how people are viewing a scenario. And with men, a lot of men know that if I fuck this girl right, I can probably get just about anything out of her. Like, most men know this. It's women that don't know this. So that's why they find themselves in fucked up scenarios. But just because you feel that way and you're like, I'm making love to my husband and this is what I really want to do, does not mean that that other person necessarily love you. It could be right, wrong, don't really know, but I'm just saying it's a gray area. Now, if I flip it around, and then I say, that exact same scenario for me, 10% ain't fucking enough. I don't give a fuck what she giving. Head for 10 minutes or 10%, pussy, any of that shit. Like, the 90% of that bullshit is not enough for me. Like, 90% of bullshit getting her ass kicked out.
Yeah.
That's for me. And I don't care how much she say she love me.
I can tell you got your own crib. She getting her ass out.
No,
you don't live at nobody else's house.
I mean, what I'm saying is, like, when you're talking about being tolerable of like 10% just because the dick is good, and we're talking about, is it important to like a relationship? In that scenario, yeah, it is for her. Now, let's turn the tables around and let's say that a person has a sex addiction. Is sex important in that relationship? Because now that person is abusing it. You see what I'm saying? Is it that?
I think it becomes more important in that relationship than anything else, because the person is already dealing with an addictive personality. I'm not saying that the sex, I think the importance of the sex heightens now.
Yeah, but both of the people have to have the sex addiction, and this is where this go wrong. So that's why I gave that example. It's because now we're in a scenario where the woman can be like, this is too much sex, because the motherfucker just have a sex addiction. He want to come home, fuck. After dinner, he want to fuck. Like, it is too much because he has an addiction. You see what I'm saying? But the other person don't have the addiction. So now he's on 90%, she's on 10, and she's like, hey, this too much. And if you go to any counselor, even though what you just said, that counselor, I'm willing to bet, would say, no, that's wrong. You have an addiction that needs to be fixed because you're overdosing. Because anything that you overdose on isn't good for you. So whether it's food, sex, does not matter. So now the sex isn't good for that relationship.
It might not be good, but it doesn't become less important to the relationship. Just because it's not good doesn't mean it's not important.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely give that, but I was just giving the examples of both of those just to show that just because one could be on 90% of bullshit, one could be 90% of over sex. So even though they could be both of them important to the relationship, doesn't mean that one or the other. You see what I'm saying? It's like they both in bad scenarios, they just at opposite sides of the spectrum. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, I do think that, you know, we all human beings, you know, at the end of the day. How important is sex? I think that would be something that you have to talk to your spouse about. How often that you do it. Like, I have homeboys that be like, the sex is just too, you know, my girl want to fuck too much. You know, and from a man, a lot of times, younger men, middle-aged men, and older men, we go through sex spurts. So, of course, like when you're younger, that's where that terminology comes from, fucking like a rabbit, because that's what you want to do. Middle age, you got your groove and you there. Older, you might slow down a little bit, but because women peak at different times, a lot of times the sex don't really measure out. So in that relationship, it depends on where y'all are. You know what I'm saying? Because most women like older men anyway. So by the time they hit their peak, did you catch your guy at the end of his downfall? And now it's important to you, and now you're nagging about, well, we don't really have sex a lot because you at your peak.
I think the best answer is whether sex is, or how vital sex is to the relationship, depends on the person's love language. Like, and to me, like, trust me, this love language shit I was never into. And when I first heard it, I was like, this is gonna be a bunch of bullshit. However, when I recognized what my love language was, and I recognized how somebody, if they're loving me their way, I still didn't feel loved. And so if sex is vital to the relationship, just like you said, when it's important to both people. And if it's important to one person, it's still the other person's responsibility to love them in that way. So what I'm saying to you is, if my love language, if number one on the list is physical touch, whether that's the way you receive love or not, it's the way you have to give love, because that's the way the person receives it. You cannot give love the same way you receive it. It does not work, because you might be trying to give it, but the person is not receiving it as love. That's why I had an issue with my spouse with being very touchy-feely, wanting to be on him all the time, lay in his lap. And he was a person that wasn't used to that. But my love language is definitely physical touch. So every time he would jerk or push me away or say, don't do that, it hurt me deeply. And he was like, why? I'm just not a person that did that. You know, it's not a big deal. I love you. But I didn't receive that well, because my love language is physical touch, and him telling me that that's not the way he's ever been in his life didn't make it go away. Physical touch is still my love language. Gotcha. So if he needs to make me feel loved, he has to resort to physical touch. His love language is he likes to receive gifts. So I gotta stay on top of my game and make sure that I'm up on my gift giving and that I put thought into it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's important to him. That's how he receives receives love. I can't change that because in my past, people used me. So your love language is receiving gifts. I'm not going to be able to do that because everybody I was with used me for money. So I don't believe in buying people gifts. So I'm going to love you in the love language that I want to love you in because of my past. That is trauma. And it's ridiculous, and you can never make a relationship work like that. You have to love a person in their love language. So if their love language is physical touch, whether you like having sex or not, get with it.
What the fuck does this have to do with is sex important to the relationship?
Because everything.
Anyway, I'll let you ramble
How?
on. I'll let you ramble on.
How did I say how did that not compute?
I let you ramble on about that. Let me show you something about relationships. That's gonna really show you something about what that love language shit is bullshit.
Are you really saying love language is bullshit?
Most definitely is bullshit. Love language is a way for had to be invented by some women based on just about like how the woman feels, because none of this shit matters to when it comes to men. I've discussed this over and over again, and I'm gonna show you some shit. That scenario that you just painted, rambling on about like a whole bunch of bullshit about like, hey, he has to love me in this love language, and he has to do this and this is that. But see, it never qualifies when it comes to men, because when men start bringing up some of the shit that they really want, so I'll give the example of this. Like, I don't like the same pussy every day. I want some extra pussy. But most women, not poly women, not women that's in the threesomes, women that love you, that want this one-on-one thing. I should be enough for you. I don't give a fuck how much my love language say, give me gifts. Give me some more vagina. Give me something that I want. She's gonna look me in my face and say, I should be enough for you. And she ain't gonna give no damn or two fucks about my love language. So don't give me this shit about you should love that person in their love language. That's like
hold on. Pussy is not on the love language list.
Why? Because I'm a man? See what I'm saying? See, love language only appears to be for what the woman wants. See, that's nothing. You should just be able to hold my hand, and I should be able to put my head on your lap, and it's just like affection. Well, that's just some pussy. You know what I'm saying? It don't mean nothing to me. It's just something that I need. So hold, it's nice and moist and warm. It's something that I just need to slide in from time to time. Not yours, just somebody else, because it's my love language. The fuck out of here. Like, what you talking about, man?
Well, why don't you make the list of love languages from the men's perspective?
I will, but what I'm saying is like you can't tell people that love the other person. And
well, you kind of have to.
Because like really at the end of the day, most people, to me, I don't really feel like people use relationships is ownership. And a lot of times what go on is like because this person say I love you, they feel like they own everything about you. Mm-hmm. So they want to dictate where you go, where you can't go. Who you can only fuck me. I don't want you fucking nobody else. That has nothing to do with love. Mm-hmm. That's ownership. Last I checked, I ain't no slave. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't say that you love me and then I say something to you like, listen, we in a relationship, but I can't eat nuggets 175 days. Like, every once in a while, I want some shrimp. You understand what I'm saying? Without you getting mad at me. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to try something else. But because she love me and feel she own me, she gonna be like, are you fucking crazy? That's what she gonna say to me. And don't give two fucks about my love language.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, threesomes and anything of the nature are not on the list of love languages.
Gotcha. Well, we don't have to have a threesome. Let me go out, you know what I'm saying, without you. This ain't a threesome, you know what I'm saying? It's just something that I need. It's something, to me, it's an urge that is just like bothering me.
That's a gift. You can call that gifts.
It's the hunt. Because I'm a hunter. And it's what I need. I need to get out on the 7 C's. I'm a salesman. I'm a Dick Smith. I need to get out here on this raft. and catch some fish. That's all I'm saying. Is sex important? I'ma say it's important. Just don't abuse it. Don't go overboard with it. But is it important to a relationship?
definitely is.
You have to find a common ground where the sex will work for both of y'all.
Definitely. I definitely believe that. And so now we're going to go into the tap-in portion of the show. And we hope you guys are tapping in at spadeperry.com. If you have any questions about any of the shows that you saw, have seen, or there is just a particular situation that you're in that you want feedback about, you tap in at spadeperry@gmail.com, and you might hear your tap-in right here on Relations. Do you have the tap-in this evening?
For sure.
Awesome.
Now this is real interesting. I got an email that you should like. Not like, but it might alarm you a little bit. So,
Lord.
it actually goes like this. Woman emailed me. She wanted to stay anonymous, and she basically said that she loved the man that she was with. They've been together like 15 years. They got married, and this is that's like the last for I think 6 months or 7 months. So they had been together that long, and then they finally got married. And she's saying now that she feel like she made a mistake. So now that they are married, she's like, I love him, but I don't think I love him enough to be married to him. And now she wants out of the marriage, and she just hasn't figured out how to tell him, and she asking for advice.
Oh my God. I think, since I don't know the details, I'm going to say this. I'm thinking if she just fell out of love and there was nothing that he did that was really wrong, then she should probably get a third party. She should, start therapy herself, and then when her therapist thinks it's time, they should invite her husband in, and they should tell him, or the therapist should coach her on what to say, because it's so easy to leave somebody when you have a reason. You smoke, you drink, you haven't worked in the last 6 years. I can't take it no more. It's different when you married somebody and you stayed in a committed marriage that they think is good for 15 years, and then you wake up one morning and decided it was a mistake. So I think there's more fragility there, because you can't point the finger at the person you're leaving. You have to point the finger at yourself. And so in order to do that, I think you need help. I think because it's hard to say it's about me, not about you. I did this to us. I think that's a very hard thing to do, and I think she needs professional help with this one. This is beyond Relations.
Okay. Gotcha. My advice is this. Before you come up with a backup plan, because you only 6 months in,
Oh my God.
I suggest you go ahead and get out of it. Like really at the end of the day, I'm gonna just say this. From what I gather is a lot of times when you meet someone in most cases where y'all are high school like sweethearts, and this is all you know. You know, this is only the person that you know. Marriage, a lot of times, I don't know why, but marriage and kids put like spotlights on how people view their life. You know what I'm saying? And if this isn't the person that you went down the aisle with and you thought you wanted to spend the rest of your life with, and that marriage put a spotlight on your whole relationship, and you like, I don't think I want this, I think you need to get out of it. Because I don't even think a therapist can convince you, because now you just did the biggest thing that most women, because this ain't a man saying, hey, I had cold feet, like I went over the threshold, and this is a woman. So she had ample opportunity over the years, and now 6 months in, she like, I regret this? There's something about the relationship, to me, that the marriage put a spotlight on, and now it's come full circle. But
don't you think that because she is the reason? I'm not saying don't get out of the relationship. I'm saying that it's not going to be an easy deliverable for her to tell him this. So I'm saying enlist help to break up. I'm not saying stay. I'm saying get self-help for yourself so that you know how to deliver it the right way. Because this is going to be damaging.
Okay, I don't disagree with that, but to me it's going to be damaging either way. Because one thing is, all the time has been there. And this is something that he's going to think about too. And he did something that was big that he will feel in the woman's eye that should have been big for her too. And now is like, hey, this is a mistake, and I don't, I get what you're saying. You're trying to soften the blow, but I think either way it go, that blow won't be softened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I get it, but I just wanted to make sure that you just don't stay in the relationship.
No, definitely get out.
And then get a backup plan, and then you know what I'm saying, shit go left. So it's 6 months in. You do some due diligence about, like, it's just 6 months, so let me do something about this now. Then let it drag on, and then be thinking it'll get better, and then it don't, and then you have a backup plan.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you. I hope you have a tap in for us next week. My name is Kana Lassiter, and you can find me at Kana Lassiter on IG. And I think that's the only platform you can find Kana Lassiter on these days.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm on both platforms. I'm on Twitter and IG, and you can reach your boy at 51 Spade. That's how it go down. And if you see the new outfit, you looking for these GOD shirts, you need to go to the other IG, that's Alpha Male God Creations. It's www.alphamalegodcreations.com. And like I always say about this time, peace.